Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Now look, Tony's got a problem. Tony's been jumped on by some of the dudes that he used to hang around with, that he used to talk bad about his father to. He's got a problem. When they put hands on him, they didn't tell him that they were beating him up because of him changing. They didn't say that. They just didn't like that he was different. They didn't like that he had turned it all around. To them anyway, he acted like he was better than them now. And they didn't dig that. So they tapped him up. So when Tony came back to the cell, right, after the beatdown, I'm talking to him. He wants to get his lick back. I understand that. You can't let nobody do nothing to you in here and you know what I'm saying, try to, make that right. Stand up for yourself, whatever you want to call it, right? You just can't let that go like that. But you got a choice to make. We all got choices to make. Now, don't get it twisted. At this particular time, when I was still in rotation, I don't know if I would have been so lenient in the issue if it would have been one of the guys. I don't know. I'm being honest about that. But what I do know, the lesson that I learned from what Tony went through in that whole situation was this. See, when you say that somebody else has influenced you and your behavior was a reflection of that influence that they had on you, and then you turn around and you change. Right? Let me back it up. When he was saying that his father was the reason that he was in prison, there was some truth to that. His father abandoned him. His father influenced him indirectly. So he made some choices. That's when it became all about him. He made some choices to do what it was that he did. Right? But that's in that same vein, that fruit of that poisonous vine, he was poisoning the minds of the individuals that he was talking to about his dad. Think about that. See, you don't have to be related to somebody to influence them in a negative way or a positive way. See, he influenced these young guys that were his age in a negative way, and then when he changed, when he started to build a relationship with his pops, they didn't like the way he was acting. He acted totally different. He acted like he should have been acting the way he was raised. But now, he's in the penitentiary, got some time to do. Now he's trying to act all up it as they saw it. And I'm watching all of this play out. And I'm thinking about all of the things that he had said about his father when I was in the cell, you know what I'm saying, and when he didn't think I was listening. Now I'm thinking about all of the things he's talking about his father now after they reconciled and them building their relationship. And I'm thinking about these individuals that he had just got into a fight with and how they were seeing him. And all I kept thinking was this: how do you create a space for them so that they can get to that place where he's at? So me and him in the cell, we talking, and he's hot. He wants to do something to him. And I tell him, I said, Tony, you don't see how this stuff is coming full circle with you? He was like, nah, Joe T, I don't see what you're talking about. I said, okay, you talking about your daddy got you in the mindset, listen to him, in the mindset to do what you did. Now, those individuals that beat you up, those guys that you called your friends, you influenced their mindset. And now they're mad at you like you were mad at your daddy. So what do you do about that? Do you walk away, be mad at them, don't talk to them? Do you go fight them? Do you try to do something to them? Or do you do what your daddy did for you? He's like, Joe T, that's different. I'm not related to them. I don't know them like that. But you knew them enough to be bad-mouthing your daddy in front of them. See what I'm saying? So when I started hitting with all these different types of things, he found it difficult to do the right thing in that situation. And the more he thought about it, the more he started to recognize how impactful what his father did was. Imagine a parent. Imagine your parent. Imagine you as a parent. You know how much you love your kids or your niece or your nephews or whatever. You know how much you love them. Imagine how hard it would be for you. And some of y'all ain't got to imagine. You've probably been through this. But imagine how hard it would be for you to admit that you've done something wrong that caused them harm and pain. Admit that to them. How hard would that be? And then on top of that, you got to forget about how it makes you feel, create a safe space for yourself and for them so that they can own what they did. So they can own it. All the lies that Tony had perpetrated out of that hurt and pain, all the deception that he went through to trick his mom and lie to his mom and lie to his friend's mom and lie to his friends and pretend to be somebody that he wasn't. Imagine how consuming and trapped you would feel by that mindset that you have. And if somebody pushed you to the side and didn't acknowledge that pain, didn't create a safe space for you to be able to say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, or I lied. When we trying to unburden ourselves, like I said, the lesson that I learned from my pastor, is that you gotta create a space for people to unburden themselves. Because once that comes out, you'll feel so much better. But you have a responsibility to create that space for people. Now, it don't even have to be somebody that you done something wrong with. You might have a friend or a family member that just got a lot on them. They got to have somebody to talk to, not to pretend talk. I'm talking about the real talk. Think about it. Ask somebody you know what kind of lie they've been carrying for all this time and how heavy it is. Because it gets heavy, weighs you down. And see, Tony was starting to see that. The pain that he had caused them, now he had to be there for them, even though it was going to be hard for him. So he went back and he confronted them. I sent a couple of the guys with him. He confronted them and he's talking to them. And I'm like, okay, this is looking good. Now while they're walking and talking, they're starting to laugh. And when they started to laugh, I knew that things were going to get better. So he told me that he told them that he was wrong for what he said about his pops. And it was something miraculous that happened out of that by him saying that. They started to talk to him about their own situations, the people that they had hurt, the people that they had lied to. Because he told them, man, I lied to my mama, I lied to her friend, I lied to my friends, I lied to my dad, I was using and manipulating them, all of these different types of things. And what he did was create a safe space. And in that safe space, he also created a permission structure that allowed them to start to share their stories. Think about it. A lot of times we sit around and we talk about the things that we've done in the streets and everybody else start talking. You know, it's kind of like who caught the biggest fish. You feel what I'm saying? But what would happen if we start to sit around and talk about, in a compassionate, forgiving, understanding way, about all the pain that we caused people and how we regretted it? Imagine the permission structure that you would create that would allow somebody to unburden themselves like that from carrying that with them. Imagine that. But see, we don't want to do that because we don't want people to look at us like something's wrong with us. But Tony, he saw that. And while I'm observing him going through this, I'm learning more and more that it's not just about me. The people that I hurt, the people that I lied to, manipulated, used, whatever. I gotta own that. Because my actions in front of them may have influenced them. I know it influenced my kids. But I may have influenced somebody else to do things in the way that I did them. Because I made it right. I created a permission structure for that negative behavior to be replicated. And that's not what I should have been doing. And so when you learn that, you got to stop that. And then when you stop that, you got to create a safe space for other people to unburden themselves like you going to unburden yourself. Go to your friend, go to somebody and tell them some deep, dark secret that you've been carrying all of this time and see how good it makes you feel. You got to trust them though. Feel what I'm saying? You just don't tell anybody because some people try to hurt you with that. So remember that. Now, before I wrap this up, I want to remind you, answer the question of the day. Email it to doingtimewithjoe@gmail.com. And one of y'all, is going to be selected every week by my producer, and they're going to send you $50. Yes, sir. Help pay for some of that gas you got going on out there with these high prices. It's been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.